Hi everyone, hope you're well today. So this video has come about because of a call I had last night with a candidate of mine who was going in for a second interview today. She desperately wants this job, and so she called me and said, well, do you have any sort of, tips and tricks on how to interview well? And I thought, well, let's share what I've learned over the years. I mean, I myself have had my fair share of interviews, and I've helped other candidates as well to succeed and get a role. And so let's go through what I think are some important tips and tricks for interviewing well. Number one is be on time. So I can't stress how important be on time is. It really does reflect really well on you when you're there on time with some time to spare, really. It shows the client that you're serious, that you're reliable, you're considerate of their time as well, and you're professional. So in order to be on time, you obviously need to be prepared for that. You need to know how long your journey is going to be, how long the walk is going to last. Make sure you've spoken to your recruiter about where the office is and don't get it muddled up with another office, of the same brand, etc. So make sure that you've got all those details, and you get there sort of 5 to 10 minutes before the time. The reason why that's important is it gives you time to sort of settle down, sit down, kind of take in your surroundings, look at where you're at, possibly pick up a couple of points and sort of tips from people that are talking in reception, etc. It does make you feel better going into a meeting knowing you've had a couple of minutes to kind of gather yourself. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is be prepared. What I mean by that is you need to do your homework on the client you're going to see. You need to know who they are, why they've been around, how long they've been in existence for, where they've come from, who the owners of the business are, who the managers are, for instance, how large the company is, where their offices are at. A little bit of history on the client. You can always look it up on social media. So many social media platforms. You can do a little bit of research on, their culture, the kind of charities they support, what they get involved in, the general sort of energy and vibe of the company. You can look at some Google reviews on the company. So you come armed with a little bit of intel on who you're going to be speaking to. Then I'd say very important is dress to impress. Now, you don't want to overdress for the meeting or you want to make sure that you dress professionally, possibly a little more on the conservative side. I would say if you kind of look at their social media pages and you look at what their agents are generally wearing, you've got a good idea on the type of business you're walking into. So some would be more informal with, a sort of like polo shirts and chinos. Others would be more formal, where it's a suit and tie, and the ladies are dressed formally. And so you kind of align yourself with that for the day. Make sure that everything's neat, clean, and ironed. Fingernails are nicely groomed, and everything is polished. And that really does impress someone. I think they like to see someone that has taken care of themselves. You'll be dealing with their clientele, so it's important that you present yourself well. I'd say don't overdress for the occasion, and the reason why I say that is I did have an incident a couple of weeks ago with one of my candidates where the messages I was getting from my clients was she's just over the top, just too much of everything. So you can, go over the top when it comes to the clothing. So just, be mindful. Then I want to tell you about thinking about your story. So what that means is I would say the night before you sit down and you think about what your story is. And it's obviously not something that's just going to come up out of your mind. It's going to be something you've thought about previously. It is your story. It's your journey. It's how you got to where you are. But you want to kind of formulate it. You want to maybe get it down on a piece of paper, maybe have a couple of points and go through it and make sure you cover it. Your story needs to be credible. It needs to be genuine. It needs to be you. Okay, you never want to be something else. Never sit in front of someone and put on a facade. Make sure that you're always being yourself, because eventually it's going to come out. So I would say formulate an idea of what that story is going to look like and make sure you've prepared it, and possibly link your story to their story. What I mean by that is, say for instance, if they support certain charities that you enjoy or you support yourself, bring that story into the conversation that you're having with your prospective employer. I think that's also important because it kind of just connects, the dots for a client. Then I'd like to say that you need to be prepared with a couple of questions. So obviously the interview is going to be about you. You're going to be answering a lot of questions that they're going to have for you, but you also want to come prepared with a couple of questions to the client. What that says about you is that, you know, you're inquisitive, you're involved, you're keen, you want to know more, you're being genuine. So I would say have maybe 6 questions, come armed with 6 questions. You might not get to ask all of those questions, but even if you ask just 3, that already says something to the prospective employer, right? And then I'd like to say, to top it all off, is make sure you've given them a good handshake going in and a great handshake going out. A nice firm handshake says a lot about a person. If you are the person that is currently looking, or if you are someone that is thinking of, you know, looking for a new role, you know, you've reached a point in your sort of business cycle where you feel like you need something new or different and you want to discuss what we have available in Southwest London, I'm very happy to have an informal chat with you. Just reach out via LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is that you're on, and we can organize a call. Yeah, I'm not expecting anything. It would be lovely just to chat and get to know who you are, and if there is any sort of synergy or if I can assist, I'd be very happy to do so. Hope you're well otherwise, and chat to you soon.